Hey y'all, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are when you see this video. Thanks for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's October 21st, 2025. I have a kind of aggravating report to share with you today. This article is irritating, but it was something I felt I needed to share since things are being celebrated that I don't believe should be celebrated. So I'm going to bring this article up. Archons, I think that's how you say it, of Constantinople give Mike Pompeo Human Rights Award. He helped create Schismatic OCU. So this happened today in New York, apparently. There they are. There's Archbishop L, as I call him, because I can't pronounce his name. He's on the left here. This is one of the archons, I'm guessing, or archons, I think is how you say it. Look at this reward they're giving him. Unbelievable. Now, some people nowadays are saying, oh, well, Patriarch Bartholomew didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? Well, I went over the history of that. I went over the history of this in other previous videos. I'm just going to give a short piece on that from last year. It was U.S. policy to destroy the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, says Church's lawyer. And there's his Bartholomew. Let's see. So I'm just going to read this portion here. Robert Amsterdam is the lawyer for the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, okay? And I've shared that in the past in other videos. But I'm going to read this portion to you of what he said. Asked about the attitude towards Patriarch Bartholomew in America and what Americans think about the Ukrainian ecclesiastical conflict against the background of the war, Amsterdam said, well, firstly, nobody in the United States knows him, right? Other than people in the State Department. He unfortunately has allowed himself to be an instrument of a U.S. policy. Yep. We learned last week from the Assistant Secretary of State, Robert Destro, he was Assistant Secretary under Trump, that it was U.S. policy to destroy the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and the Eastern Orthodox. I mean, absolutely shocking, this behavior. So again, this information came to us last week. We need to understand it. We need to ask the American Congress to investigate it. It explains a lot of the black PR about the Ukrainian Orthodox Church that has gone out because nobody is spreading this propaganda than, unfortunately, the United States at times. And Patriarch Bartholomew and President Poroshenko and Secretary of State Pompeo negotiated these dramatic changes in the life of the church in Ukraine, and they've been heavily criticized for it. And again, I'm going to just strongly say that the state needs to stay out of the spiritual realm. And this behavior from the United States is unconstitutional and illegal. The behavior of Poroshenko and how he instrumentalized the church for his political campaign is unconstitutional under the Ukrainian Constitution, of course. Then I'm going to say in January 2021, Secretary of State Pompeo openly acknowledged the U.S.'s role in pressuring churches to recognize the Schismatic Orthodox Church of Ukraine, created by the U.S.-Ukraine, Constantinople specifically, to replace the church that had already existed in Ukraine for 1,000 years. In May 2021, the former Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. admitted that the U.S. counts the creation of the OCU as its own achievement. And yeah, this is all about what they want to do. And they do all these political moves and have no idea. These people have, let me just say that. These U.S. politicians, government officials like Pompeo have no idea how the Orthodox Church works, what its jurisdictions are, who all of the patriarchs are, how the whole thing works. They don't understand it. They don't know. But then they decide to butt in to a personal, religious, and a faith matter of the Orthodox Church that has nothing to do with them. But because I believe, understanding this time, Bartholomew, his eminence or whatever, I forget what he's called, his all holiness Bartholomew in Constantinople has his own persecution issues with Turkey for decades, okay? He looks to the U.S. to help him. So yes, the State Department got involved and dug their way in, and this is what happened. Bartholomew, as the lawyer said, he just fell right into the U.S. policy, because the U.S. does not care about any of what they're saying with these Orthodox churches. They don't know anything. They didn't even understand. They think it's a religious freedom thing. They don't understand anything about canonical churches and the connections with each one and how it works. Oh my gosh. As you can see, this is kind of a sore subject for me. But I'm just going to go to the article we started. I just wanted to show you that before I got into this one. Look at that. He's getting his award. Okay, so the Archons and the Patriarchate of Constantinople awarded former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo the Athenagoras Human Rights Award over the weekend. As in the past years, the award focused on how the awardee has served the Patriarchate of Constantinople. In his message for the event, Patriarch Bartholomew said that Pompeo is recognized for his consistent advocacy for religious freedom and his steadfast support of the Ecumenical Patriarchate and other religious minorities during his distinguished public service. Mike Pompeo, you mean the man that was, head of the CIA under Trump and, said that all they do is lie, cheat, and steal, basically, in that. But he claims to be this huge Christian, okay? One that actually believes in the rapture. So the man has no idea of church or Christian history. He, again, assumes things regarding my church, anyway. Pompeo has spoken about how he personally participated in Constantinople's creation of the Schismatic Orthodox Church of Ukraine and in pressuring Orthodox churches to recognize this organization, which, as I've done on another video, not many have supported that. Not many at all. Very tiny. I think it was like 4 out of, I forget how many churches did not recognize. Only 4. The award was presented at the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel by Archbishop L. of America and Archons National Commentary Dr. Anthony Limbarakis. Archbishop L. also praised Pompeo's support of Constantinople. He has been a leader in the struggle for human rights and guarantees of religious liberty across the globe, and he has a special love and concern for the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople. Limbarakis praised him as an embodiment of what it means to be a true servant leader. Oh my gosh. In his own remarks, Pompeo thanked the Archons and praised them for what he described as their work in defending religious freedom for 300 million Orthodox Christians worldwide. Defending religious freedom. Creating schism is defending religious freedom. In this vein, he condemned Turkey's persecution of the Patriarchate of Constantinople. Okay, that's fine. He also praised Patriarch Bartholomew for granting autocephaly to the OCU while condemning the faithful of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church as a spy network within Ukraine. A spy network. You see? You see what I'm saying? Typical. During his time as Secretary of State, Pompeo met with and expressed support for Metropolitan Epiphany Dumenko and other OCU leaders. Dumenko is himself a former recipient of the Archons Human Rights Award. Good Lord. Although his organization openly and violently persecutes the Orthodox Christians of Ukraine, I've shown that many times, Pompeo has publicly acknowledged that with his help, The U.S. pressured for international recognition of the schismatic OCU, and OCU quote-unquote bishops themselves have openly stated that Patriarch Bartholomew was able to create the OCU in 2008 only because he had U.S. support. Yeah, I'm sure. A year ago, Pompeo was pranked by famous Russian pranksters Vovan and Lexus, thinking he was speaking with former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. The former Secretary of State said about the creation of the OCU, "I know, I was in the middle of it. I'm so proud of what happened. By the way, I think it has made a difference in the war. So I give His All Holiness Bartholomew and the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, meaning the OCU, leadership major honor for what they did." And in his view, the idea that Zelensky and the OCU leadership are persecuting the Ukrainian church is nutso. That is the strangest word to use to describe what he's talking about here, his opinion on this. Other past recipients, and they go on about this and all that. This is just ridiculous. You know, these past recipients. Patriarch Theodorus of Alexandria, former governor of New York Andrew Cuomo, and President Joe Biden, vice president at the time. What in the world? I'm sorry, but this whole patriarchate is a mess. It's a mess. And I think it's veered off the tracks, off the path of where it needs to. You know, it's just like teetering on the edge, and in some ways already has gone off the edge. But I had to share this because it was just it just got my shackles, whatever you want to call that. I forget what it's called. Irritated me, so I wanted to share it with you so I could to vent out my frustrations over this, because it's irritating to me. But I'm sure you all have some comments on this. Maybe you don't totally agree with me or don't have this strong of a reaction to this particular deal, but for me, it was upsetting. Anyway, go ahead and share your thoughts if you like. I would love to see them. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel, and for all your support. You know, you all have been a great support system for me, and I'm very grateful for all of you. And hope you're having a great evening, morning, night, afternoon, wherever you are. It's evening here. Until next time.